Now let's look at circumference. So when I talk about circumference, we're looking at circles. A circle is there and we know that the radius we'll call r. The formula for getting the circumference, which is the outside perimeter of a circle, is 2 times pi times r. So 2 times pi times the radius. And you all know that a pi button will be in your calculator, so make sure you can find that pi button first on your calculator. Guys, memorize that formula right now, because I'm going to be using that throughout the next few questions. So try to memorize that now, because it's not a very big formula. And let's try the question. So C, the circumference, is 2 pi r. So find the circumference in exact form. So when they say exact form, don't calculate it in your calculator. Leave it in the exact form. The radius is 3, circumference is 2 pi r, so I'm going to say 2 pi times radius, so 2 pi times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, so 6 pi is the answer. Don't calculate it because they want it in exact form. Find the circumference. This time they give you the diameter, which is 8. So what's the radius? We always want to look for radius. Diameter is 2 times radius, so the radius must be half of that, which is 4. It's 2 pi times 4, which is 8 pi. But this time they want you to correct it to 3 significant figures, so plug that into your calculator to get this, and to 3 significant figures is 25.1. For the length of the arc, now arc is this length here, this is the arc. Now you can see that this shape is a semicircle, so this arc here must be half of a full circle. So what I'm going to do is find my usual circumference of the full circle, so 2 pi r, and then I'm going to times that by a half because we only want half of it. We do 2 pi r, so r is 7, and times that by a half, which will give you just 7 pi. So you can guys calculate this. 2 times a half is 1, 1 times 7 is 7. That's why we just have 7 pi, just a bit of algebra. And because they say exact form, don't calculate it with your calculator. Find the length of the arc in its exact form. Again, very exact same question, but this time you have to find the radius. The diameter is 16, so what's the radius? 8. So we do the same thing. 2 pi times 8 times a half, which just gives you 8 pi. 8 times a half is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. And again, leave it in exact form, so leave it in terms of pi. Find the length of the arc. Okay, this time the arc is a little bit bigger. It's this whole thing. So the circular bit, the round bit, is always the arc. This part here is what we want. Now they give you that this length is 9. This is also 9. That's basically the radius, isn't it? So first of all, we know the radius. Now what proportion of, or what fraction of the whole circle is this arc? Now if you draw up the full circle, this part is just a quarter of it, isn't it? Because they give you that this is a right angle. So you know that if I have right angle triangles, it's going to be like, I can draw 4. So this is a quarter. So this side must be 3 quarters, isn't it? So this time we multiply the circumference by 3 quarters. So I'm going to do 2 pi r, where r is 9, so 2 pi times 9 times 3 quarters. And that's going to give you something like that. Just plug it into your calculator, and to 4 significant figures, it's 42.41. As long as you can find the fraction of the circle, you can multiply that fraction to the circumference formula.